I'm not into it. I'm just saying the symbol to make geometry was this tool. I don't know how you call it in English. You can draw circles and stuff like that. I saw this tool on a organization group, like any other religion, on the Freemasons. And I never heard about Freemason. I don't know what it is, and I don't want to go into it because I have nothing to do with it. I just found it interesting that this symbol is their symbol. So then I was thinking about what I figured out is that as more I was studying and discovering by myself planet and Earth, how they work together, and the sunrise and time, degrees on 360 degrees on Earth, and the sunset, etc., and time, the time, space, degree working really interrelated to each other. And by more discovering it out, I felt that I was gaining some other kind of knowledge, and that knowledge is really gave me some joy, like when I wanted to explain things, I could only explain it in the kind of a poetry or in a saying, because it's just joy. Sorry, sorry, joy. So in my amusement and joy with playing with the toys in the heaven, I call it. So by toys, I mean the stars, the planets, the moon, the earth, the sun, calculating, etc., experiencing and all that. I figured out that we all have also, but back to the Freemason before I jump to that. So I figured out that this symbol has the Freemasons as their main symbol. The thing you can do, the circles. And then I was asking myself, how come that I never heard about this group, this organization? Because during our life, when we was a little kid, they put us a stamp on it and it says you Catholic, or you Baptist, or you Christian, or you Lutheran, or you are Orthodox, or whatever, or you this and that. When you're a child, and you can even not say, no, I don't want that. So that, first of all, they should stop doing this. Like, when a child was born, say, okay, you Catholic, whatever. And also, I was thinking about how comes it I never heard about Freemason, Freemason. I said it then, Freemason. And then when I looked all the years back, I'm 40 now, and you always hear about the Catholics, the Christians, the Muslims, the Islam, and all they try to sell books, tell you this story, and buy these books, and do this and this. And what I figured out, Freemasons, I never heard of them, and they never said, "Do come to us," whatever, blah blah blah. So something in that discoveries leads me in this Freemason thing. I still don't know what it is, and I know, as everybody knows, I don't believe in any YouTube bullshit or Facebook bullshit what they make, and I don't believe in any conspiracies, because conspiracies and all that is what comes up because people have too much time and don't know what to do, and then they create stories, etc., etc. But that's just my opinion. So I was wondering, I was asking myself, how do they know that? No, I was asking myself then, do Freemasons know what that geometry is actually a tool from God to see things how He works? That's what I was asking myself. And I was working at night as usual, and I was always asking this question myself: do the Freemasons know themselves with the tool, the circle they can do? Or I do it, or I know it only and they don't know. So I was asking myself all the time, how can I find out? And during this occupation, by asking myself, after night shift, I went back home and I slept. And then I had a dream that I was in a Freemason room with peoples, and I saw a box on the bottom, and in this box was a man. I know it sounds weird, but in this dream I was in a Freemason society or in a room or whatever it was more like a closed society, closed room, and there were a lot of people that were like questioning. I could read their thoughts and questioning and all that, and I saw that there was a box on the ground, and in this box was somehow a man in there, like it was a very holy thing because everybody was standing around it, and they were all interested what I have discovered. Because my question was all the time, do they know what this geometry tool, you can do circles, what it really means? And I talked with them, but I don't know how it ended, but it gave me the feeling that they must know something, which is not secret at all, because I know it too. So I figured out that geometry is a language from the universe, from the God, from the Lord, whatever, you can name whatever name you want, is a tool that if you understand geometry, that you see his whole beauty on the planet Earth, how he designed everything. So then, during more and more investigating into it, discovering, observation, and all that, I felt more and more joy into me. And I mean, you guys saw it yourself in Facebook. I wrote stuff into it, my drawings and all that, my poetry, because you cannot explain it. And then I was thinking about how wonderful his work is, what he's done. And here's another thing. There is so much. What you have to say, what you have to understand is, this is why I'm coming to it. Somehow I came to a very revolutionary scientist, mathematician, physicist. His name is Johannes Kepler. And when I saw him and I was reading his quotes, and I felt like in him was the same spirit, the same force, what I feel right now, because I understood his whole quotes, what he's writing. And it gave me a confirmation that I'm on the right way, that I am exactly there where he was or where he is or whatever. And so I was interested in Johannes Kepler, and as more and more I read his quotes, I understood it, but his quotes is also in kind of a poetry, in kind of a psalms. But I understood this language. So I was really interested in it, and I figured very similarities between my discoveries and his discoveries. And he got it also then from Isaac, similarities with Isaac Newton and Toche, all these scientists. So what I want to say is, what I figured out is that in our whole history, there are always a certain people that occurs. You cannot predict them, but there are certain people occurs in our history. They have the talent to understand and how to play with God's toys, or how to translate the heaven language and bring it down to the man's language. That's how I can only explain this transformation. So I was getting more and more into it, and I find so much joy, and I see things now differently because I see how time, space, the degrees, sun, the planet, the earth, how everything operates. It's like you see it with God's eyes, so to speak, or you see through the eyes of God, and the eyes of God is geometry, and you look through geometry now. Everything it's really amazing and interesting. So And the other thing is, I understand much more now about science, physicists, and all that. And I figured out that in certain people like Isaac Newton, Johannes Kepler, Mozart, Beethoven, Leonardo da Vinci, those are those people, I'm telling you, they occur out in our history, and they understand the knowledge of the heavens, and they try to translate it in the mankind's understanding. That's the only way how I can explain. So, oh, and I have so much things to tell what I've discovered, and it's really amazing. And then it's like, I feel like I can just explain you how I feel from this joy, what is in me. There's a joy, it's like if I'm asking myself a question and I go sleep later on, I know that the dream will give me an answer to it. I'm just telling you how intense everything is. And the other thing is, it's like it's like I'm walking a street and surrounded by 1 dimension, 0 dimension, 2 dimension, 3 dimension, and I can interrelate with those others and take out from the 3 dimension, put it in 1 dimension, take the 0 dimension, put it in 1 dimension, take something from 2 dimension, put it out in 3 dimension. It's like I'm operating like this, and it's like click. Let me tell you another example. So then I heard from my coworker that they found out that Einstein theory was correct about this gravity and those 2 holes where everything soaks in, and how everything gravity operates through these 2 holes. And now let me show you something, how my thought operates. So I saw that picture, I saw these 2 black holes, and around all the stars, the planets. When I saw that, instantly in my head I thought there are 2 holes from a nose. So I was thinking about, maybe that's God's universe nose, and the breath what comes out of his nose is all the stars, all the dark matter, everything what is in his breath. And that's how the stars came out, and then all the planets. And when I came to these planets, then it reminded me the confirmation when Jesus says in a parable about the sower and the seed, and he says on each ground, and on one ground it found fruit and everything. And I was thinking about the different grounds he was talking about when God breathes in and out, and it makes sense now when I don't know where it says that our life is like a breath of God, or we live in the breath of God, is what God breathes out of his nose, all what is inside the breath, the stars, the solar systems, air, electrons, protons, whatever what is in there, is, so to speak, breathing out, and it strikes to all planets and stars and all grounds, which I told you about, the sower and the seed, the parable from Jesus. And then it hit our planet Earth. And that planet Earth is the good soil, what Jesus was talking about. But this is all my theories right now. I just want to show you how everything in my head works instant like this transformation. And then I was thinking about, but how can that be confirmed, that our planet, that all his breath came to our planet Earth, and that was the good soil. It brought out fruits, 60 times fruits, that's our planet, but all the other planets was not good. So the breath was only good, and it's constant on our planet Earth. So that's why our planet Earth has so many plants, flowers, etc. That's the good soil. When Jesus was talking the parable, about the sower and the seed. And I was thinking about what else gives the confirmation. And then and what I'm telling you right now, it seems like 10, 20 minutes. All that happens in one instant. So then it came to me, my picture, a famous scientist, mathematician, painter, Leonardo da Vinci. The famous picture when a man and a woman standing like this in the circle. It's a very famous painting. And this gave me the confirmation that Leonardo da Vinci confirms that that mankind, because for me, mankind, for me it just exists, M-A-N, man, is divided by female and male. Like a cat, you don't say man's cat or woman's cat. It's